A drone surprise from Germany. Ukraine is receiving a combat monster with wings of death. Moscow is in panic. NATO applauds Ukraine's drone expertise is changing the future of war. A shock for Putin. Kyiv has caught up with Yelabuga and is churning out drones at the speed of sound. Mega drones and missiles. Ukraine once again debunks the myth of the invincible Russian Federation army. I'll tell you all the details in a moment. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Victoria Panchenko, bringing you the latest events. In Germany, there was a hint that they are supplying Ukraine with a new battle-tested drone. Last week, the ESI exhibition took place in London, during which the German defense giant Rheinmetall showcased its new development. We're talking about an allegedly battle-tested kamikaze drone called the FV-014. Information about this secretive drone appeared in Ukrainian media, citing Defense Express. The publication's analysts cautiously suggested that prototypes of the drone may indeed have been tested in real combat conditions.
And this means that the only such testing ground could have been the battlefields of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Another option is that Rheinmetall may have slightly anticipated the possible course of events.
However, in addition to the new drone, the photo also captured the truly battle-tested Hero 120 model from Israel's U-Vision, which Rheinmetall can produce under license. At the same time, the existence of the FW-014 has only now become publicly known. The FW-014 drone is a classic loitering munition with a takeoff weight of 14 kilograms and an electric engine. It features a folding wing and is launched from a transport launch gondola container. It has a flight range of 100 kilometers and an airtime of 60 minutes. The warhead is a combined shape, charge, and fragmentation type, weighing 5 kilograms and allows for striking both armored vehicles and less protected targets. It is clear that since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine has become a testing ground for the latest military technologies. Kyiv is considered the drone capital of the world, with a vast supply network for components. And now, Ukraine will once again receive drone innovations from the US, specifically the brains for UAVs. 33,000 Skynode systems are already on their way. The Skynode system is a set of modules from the company Auterion, which includes a camera and other components. Using proprietary software and computer vision algorithms, it transforms ordinary FPV drones into autonomous systems, AI-powered weaponry. Notably, Ukraine has become the first country in the world to use artificial intelligence to coordinate drone swarms on the battlefield. This innovative technology could become a driving force in modern combat, allowing dozens or even thousands of UAVs to jointly breach enemy defenses. Experts are calling this the next stage of drone warfare. Watch now for more details.
Swarms of drones with artificial intelligence have already entered the battlefield. On this new frontier of military operations, Ukraine is using technology that allows groups of drones to communicate and make decisions independently of their operator.
According to Western journalists, Ukraine is using artificial intelligence in military operations so that groups of drones can coordinate their actions to attack well-defended Russian positions. Military experts claim that operations involving large and small groups of drones represent a new stage in the war. Such innovations make it possible to deploy dozens or even thousands of drones simultaneously to overcome any air defense systems, whether protecting a city or a specific military facility.
If it becomes possible to scale up production and there are also mass attacks, when a swarm is flying, it's clear that you can shoot down part of the swarm, but you can't shoot down all 100 drones flying at the same time. Well, in this case, of course, there will be very serious disruptions to the energy system, major disruptions to the transportation system, and the normal way of life will begin to break down. We actually saw this ourselves this year with air transport. it's impossible to deploy systems everywhere. This
innovative technology is a harbinger of the future of warfare. Analysts assure us of this. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian company itself, which developed the unique software, is lifting the veil of secrecy over what can be expected from the new military development. It turns out that a swarm of strike drones, like a living organism, analyzes what is happening in real time and makes decisions based on the situation.
The drones can decide which one will strike first and adapt to the circumstances. For example, if one of them runs out of battery power. Ukrainian soldiers began using this technology about a year ago to lay mines. Since then, it has been used to strike Russian military equipment and infrastructure. And
it must be admitted they are using it extremely effectively. In the Kremlin, just hearing the phrase drone swarm makes their knees tremble. Even the enemy admits that they simply have nothing to counter such advanced Ukrainian weaponry.
That is genuinely impressive.
By the way, if something in such autonomous operations goes off plan, the system immediately hands over control to a live operator. Fortunately, another advanced Ukrainian technology promises to help with this, the Kolibri 13 FR1. This is a so-called relay drone for FPV featuring autonomous navigation and resistance to electronic warfare. It's an inexpensive alternative to the Chinese DJI, which is widely used on the front lines.
At the beginning of the Russian invasion, Russia was striking with missiles and drones practically unopposed across Ukrainian territory. Ukraine could not respond, or almost could not respond, on Russian territory. But now, as they say, the situation has changed. Now Ukraine has drones that are hitting Russian industry. Ukraine has run out of some types of missiles, but as Putin says, the special military operation is going according to plan.
The new domestically produced UAV is not just a drone, it's an entire system that includes 2 carrier relays, a ground control station, and additional antennas. This approach makes it possible to ensure a stable communication channel at the tactical level. The drone's design is modular, allowing for quick replacement of damaged components right on the battlefield. Among the advantages of the Ukrainian Kolibri are its resistance to strong winds, low temperatures, and the ability to operate both during the day and at night.
How does the Kremlin respond to all this? Instead of what you see at Chinese shows, where drones form beautiful shapes in the sky, what you'll get, of course, is Uranus, silent and mysterious, and it's unclear how to deal with it. If drones are taught to think, to make decisions, especially if they're taught to make decisions on the fly, that would be an absolute nightmare, pure and utter chaos.
How does the Kremlin respond to all this? Instead of developing new types of air defense systems, Putin is putting all the efforts of the Russian defense industry into creating more and more methods of terror. In particular, they are actively improving their Shahed drones, teaching them to strike residential buildings of peaceful Ukrainians with even greater precision. This unpleasant news for us was recently shared by a military radio technology specialist with the call sign Flash. According to him, Russian mopeds have recently become much more dangerous and deadly.
a fresh discovery. As you can see, the antennas are mounted on the edges of the wings, the modems. But unfortunately, unlike the Herber, it's not possible to recover the cameras. They get destroyed and burn up. For those who don't know, this is a new version of the Shahed, which can be controlled online from Russia. It can conduct reconnaissance and even attack moving targets.
However, it's worth giving credit to the Ukrainian defense industry, which began working on improving Ukraine's air defense system long before this. By staying ahead of the enemy, our engineers are already actively developing our own version of the HIMARS. The foreign missile system has proven its effectiveness on the battlefield, demonstrating high accuracy and the ability to operate at long distances. This is exactly what we need for Ukraine. Our own counterpart to American weaponry means not only reducing dependence on Allied supplies, but also the ability to adapt the system to modern warfare conditions and the specifics of combat operations. For now, the technical specifications of the Ukrainian system are not being disclosed. However, experts suggest that it is a wheeled platform with high mobility, capable of launching guided missiles over distances of hundreds of kilometers. So it's about time for the occupiers to start preparing for new surprises from the Ukrainian armed forces.
Lawrence Meyer, CEO of Autorion, noted that the new delivery is 10 times larger in scale. This became possible thanks to a contract worth nearly $50 million signed with the U.S. Department of Defense. As Meyer emphasized, Autorion has become a pioneer in joint production between the U.S. and Ukraine.
This is recognition that the experience gained in Ukraine matters. This is support for Ukraine, but also for technologies that NATO countries want to acquire.
The CEO added that the company does not intend to compete with the Ukrainian drone industry.
Ukraine has a fantastic drone industry. We want to add what they don't have yet. Solutions that are more focused on software and modern types of warfare.
Moreover, Ukraine has already reached the level of Russian production and is churning out drones at the speed of sound. And soon we expect parity in the production of strike drones from both sides. More details are coming up in the report.
To catch up and surpass, Ukraine has reached production rates of its own strike drones comparable to those of Russia. First and foremost, we're talking about the latest long-range FP1 UAVs. According to the Associated Press, Ukraine has managed to scale up its production capacity and is now assembling about 100 drones per day. At the same time, the drone is significantly cheaper than the Shahed. One FP1 costs $55,000.
The overall technical specifications are not much different from those of the Shahed. Of course, it has a different design, but its function is the same, even though it can fly a bit farther and has slightly more payload capacity and is somewhat more advanced in terms of hitting a specific target accurately. There has not been a single instance where the FP1 accidentally hits civilian objects. That's why it's very convenient for understanding how to plan a mission, make it safe, and extremely precise. And it's also 5 times cheaper than the Shahed, which is very useful for our Ukraine, which isn't that wealthy.
The secret is simple, experts explain. No, in Ukraine there is no uninterrupted supply of engines from Iran or China. We don't have the same production capacities as Russia, and we don't have as much money either. Accordingly, our engineers simplified everything as much as possible. With just one condition, the drone absolutely must reach and hit the intended target.
The load-bearing structure of the FP1 drone is made of plywood, with elements milled on a laser machine. This is a very cheap and mass-produced solution. The skin is then attached to this frame, using joints with slots and fasteners. For a kamikaze drone, which is meant to make a single flight in its lifetime, ending with it simply crashing into the target and exploding. Not only is this sufficient, it's actually the right approach.
At the same time, despite its outward simplicity, the FP1's internal components are quite advanced technologically. The drone is equipped with a whole array of sensors and modules that help it pass through the enemy's EW zone. It can identify the target and approach it along the most effective trajectory.
Ukraine has faced a number of challenges that have led to the creation of unmanned systems that meet the requirements of modern missiles. They are accurate to the point of hitting their targets, can bypass electronic warfare, and are capable of operating even without satellite navigation aids. Therefore, in reality, we are talking about technological advancements that we have developed and proposed solutions for, which allow us to operate deep within the territory of the Russian Federation.
Deep means up to about 1,600 kilometers. At the same time, the FP1 carries a rather powerful warhead over this distance, about 60 kilograms. There is also the possibility to increase the amount of explosives to 120 kilograms by partially reducing the range.
This latest drone can easily strike within the range of the Russian capital and even circle it 2 more times or around it. Moreover, a range of 1,600 kilometers makes it possible for Ukrainian defense forces to reach such remote regions of Russia as Udmurtia, Tatarstan, Samara Oblast, Orenburg, Vologda, Kostroma, Perm Krai, Bashkortostan, Yekaterinburg, and even Murmansk Oblast. There aren't enough fingers on your hands to count them all. So we understand that Putin's attempts to move his drone or missile production plants further from the border didn't save him.
At the same time, as noted in the Financial Times article, the FPV is far from the only Ukrainian strike drone that hits targets in Russia every night. Combined with the number of other unmanned aerial vehicles produced, altogether the total is truly impressive.
Ukraine also has mega drones in its arsenal, which are already causing panic among Russians. However, Ukraine is impressing the world not only with drones, but also with new ballistic missiles. And thousands of the latest missiles from the US will also be delivered to Ukraine. More details are coming up in the report.
It has become known that the manufacturer of Flamingo missiles plans to produce more ballistic-type missiles. In addition to the Sapsan, Ukraine may soon receive another domestically produced ballistic missile. This was reported by Militarny, citing a statement from a representative of the Ukrainian company Firepoint. It is this company that is also known for the Flamingo missile. During an international exhibition in Poland, the company presented the technical specifications of two new domestically developed ballistic missiles, FPCM and FP9. It is expected that the FPC will have a strike range of up to 200 kilometers with a circular error probable of 14 meters. Thus, its purpose is the operational engagement of targets at medium distances. The missile will reach a maximum speed of 1,500 meters per second, so the maximum flight duration will be 250 seconds. The launch of the FPCM missile will be carried out from a ground platform. As for the FPC missile, it is designed as a much more powerful weapon intended to strike targets deep within enemy territory. Its flight range will be up to 855 kilometers at a speed of 2,200 meters per second. The maximum flight altitude is up to 70 kilometers. With a warhead weight of 800 kilograms, the missile will have a circular error probable of up to 20 meters. So Russia, get ready. But trouble for the Kremlin doesn't come alone. It's not just missiles that will be heading to Russia. Ukraine and the Philippines are preparing to sign an important memorandum on cooperation in the field of technology and defense. It is expected that the document, which in particular provides for the joint development and production of unmanned aerial vehicles, will be signed by the end of October. According to Ukraine's ambassador to the Philippines, Kyiv is actively developing various types of drones and is seeking partners around the world for joint work. She called the Philippines the most reliable partner, emphasizing Kyiv's readiness to share its experience and technologies. In addition, last week, the first non-resident Ukrainian defense attaché to the Philippines, Colonel Andriy Bilenki, visited military facilities in Manila, including the headquarters of the Air Force, Army, and Navy. This indicates an active phase of negotiations and mutual interest from both sides in strengthening defense partnership. And that's not all. A new photo of the Ukrainian counterpart to the MPC, a Universal Planning and Correction Module, the so-called KABU. The underwing of a Ukrainian Air Force MiG-29 quickly spread across the internet and sparked a whole wave of new theories and assumptions within society. What's more, even a video of this new Ukrainian superweapon was leaked online. In Russia, real panic broke out. Could this really be the combat use of a Ukrainian-made product?
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Most recently, in the 2 months since the first public appearance of the Ukrainian KAB, thanks to painstaking work on the navigation system, the required accuracy of hits has been achieved. They are now capable of striking targets at a range of up to 60 kilometers, and this parameter is planned to be increased to 80 kilometers. At the same time, we are talking about a kit for a bomb weighing 500 kilograms. It should be noted that visually, the Medoid device generally replicates the design of the Russian OMPK, and this was done deliberately, as it is a pragmatic decision to copy what works for the enemy and is designed for mass production. At the same time, the internal components of the KAB are new, taking into account the possibility of cooperation with foreign partners as well as our own production capabilities. This has never happened before. How far will these powerful missiles be able to reach? Then how can they change the course of the war? Watch this report.
An American greeting for Ukraine's Independence Day. Following the Kellogg's whale, American cruise missiles are heading to Ukraine.
It is an honor for me to present you with this award. Thank you.
According to the Wall Street Journal, the Donald Trump administration approved the sale to Ukraine of more than 3,000 extended-range attack munition aviation missiles.
It should be noted that neither the Pentagon nor the White House nor even Ukraine has officially confirmed the information about the aviation missiles, which, according to media reports, are to be delivered to the country within the next 6 days. That is to say, when the sovereign Russian Federation officially provides its plans directly to the United States White House administration.
A few days earlier, Russian terrorists launched a missile strike on a factory belonging to an American company in western Ukraine. Essentially, Putin nullified Trump's words that the presence of American business on Ukrainian territory is, in itself, a guarantee of security.
What did you say to Vladimir Putin regarding yesterday's strike on the American factory in Ukraine?
I told him that I am not happy about it. I'm not happy about anything that's happening in this war.
After some time, the President of the United States made an important statement. Donald Trump acknowledged that Ukraine cannot win the war by only defending itself.
It's very difficult, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking the aggressor country. It's like a great sports team with a fantastic defense being forbidden from playing offense. There's no chance of winning. It's the same with Ukraine and Russia. The dishonest and very incompetent Joe Biden didn't allow Ukraine to strike back, only to defend itself. And what has come of that?
According to experts, the supply of long-range air-launched missiles and Trump's logical response to this have clearly demonstrated the inability of the Russian dictator to negotiate.
We call it elaborately, that is, the response to a strike from the United States. Moreover, I do not rule out that a joint parallel step, such as the supply of certain munitions, could be accompanied by a long-awaited decision to authorize a retaliatory strike on the territory of the Russian Federation.
I will include the Air Force in the deliveries of American air-to-surface missiles, which, as reported, have been paid for by Ukraine's European allies. This is a large quantity, specifically 3,350 missiles with a strike range of up to 400 to 435 kilometers.
A range of 450 kilometers essentially covers the entire logistics infrastructure of the Russian occupying army, directly in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. Additionally, if permission is granted to use these weapons on the territory of the Russian Federation, this would cover the entire logistics network of the Russian army, and accordingly, legitimate military targets on the territory of the Russian Federation. This significantly, in practice, increases the tactical and technical capabilities of American strike systems by almost a third.
The combination of the number and range of the ERAM missiles suggests that, unlike the scarce Storm Shadow and ATACMS, these missiles can be used much more frequently, including in a targeted manner against enemy bombers and the launches of the invading armies.
From now on, even today, the enemy's air bases will have to be considered targets for Ukraine's defense forces. Furthermore, this includes the specific launch sites and consequently the various locations from which ballistic and cruise missiles are launched on the territory of the Russian Federation.
Meanwhile, the new Ukrainian Flamingo missile has already made its presence felt in Russia. Ukraine has made a real revolution in the war. How the new weapon has changed the situation on the front and what Russians should expect now, more details about this in our report.
With a warhead weighing a ton and a range of well over 1,000 kilometers. Ukrainian photographer Yefrem Lukatsky, who collaborates with the Associated Press, published photos of the new Ukrainian long-range Flamingo missile.
The Flamingo missiles produced in Ukraine and with a range of over 3,000 kilometers have entered mass production. They can be seen in the workshop of one of the country's leading defense companies, Firepoint, at an undisclosed location in Ukraine.
The caption under the photo states that it was taken on August 14th in the workshop of the defense company Firepoint. In the photo, the missiles in the workshop are already ready for shipment. It appears that the Flamingo is in serial production, according to Ukrainian official sources. There have long been hints in the missile sphere that the Ukrainian defense industry is preparing a major long-range surprise for the Russians. And judging by everything, the Flamingo is exactly that surprise that was being talked about. According to military analysts, the missile is very simple to produce, and that's exactly what Ukraine needs right now. This is
great news. The missile really is simple. It can't be compared to things like the Storm Shadow, Scalp, and so on. But in this case, we don't need very complex guidance systems. Modern American or British missiles have visual guidance systems that can home in on infrared images, even when various anti-missile countermeasures are used. In this case, we don't need that. Pavlo Narozhny, military expert.
All of the currently known facts strongly indicate that the so-called Flamingo is, in fact, the already well-known FP-5 cruise missile from the Millennium Group. Additionally, the physical appearance and the technical descriptions of both missiles are found to be completely identical.
More than 50 of these missiles can be produced each month. This, of course, is explained by the right approach, where in favor of mass production, such complexities as launching from a transport launch container and the wing was sacrificed, it is believed. At the same time, this comes at the cost of a relatively long pre-launch preparation of 20 to 40 minutes, but with the capabilities of the FP5, it is quite an effective trade-off. The company also declared that the missile uses satellite navigation that is resistant to electronic warfare, as well as an inertial system, according to Defense Express.
The warhead of the Flamingo is 1 ton. This is twice as powerful as the American Tomahawk. And most importantly, it is designed for mass production. Russia systematically tries to cripple the Ukrainian defense industry, and Ukraine needs to act in the same way, focusing on destroying the Russian military-industrial complex.
And it is enormous in size. And for most of these factories, we see that we can hit them with cheap drones that fly not at 1,000 kilometers per hour like this missile, but at a speed of 200 to 250 kilometers per hour. So right now, we need a large number of inexpensive means that can effectively destroy the Russian economy and military-industrial complex. And this missile is capable of doing that. Pavlo Narozhny, military expert.
Kyiv has not made any official statements about the new long-range Flamingo missile in this case either. Most likely everyone will simply see the results of the Flamingo strike on Russian military factories and...
What do you think about the Ukrainian Revo Kudro in the new industry? We look forward to your comments. More to come? Stay tuned for the main updates and be sure to like the video. Wishing you peaceful skies above.